seeker lives wisely, and living wisely means that you are living with discernment and dispassion. Living with discernment and dispassion takes place in the mind. So, when we live with that discernment and dispassion, do we experience the changes in our behavior and attitude? Do we experience that, restfulness is all the time is there, in all situation is there? Do I find more energy, freshness, sound sleep almost every day? So, what prevents? That is what we discussed last time. So, I'm going to use the verses and then we will. I use the verses as it is and then we will understand. So, the last time we had a verse that we say, Eastern wisdom says that real self is all pervading. It is pure consciousness. It is of the nature of peace and happiness. It dwells in the heart of all the beings. But I'm not experiencing it. So, logical answer why I'm not experiences because of the three factors. I believe now you remember those factors: the ignorance, the impurity, and restlessness, distractions of the mind. That is okay. So now if all the three factors are removed, can I realize the real self? Yes. When? All the time, in all the situations, in all the relationship. So I have been already attending the sessions for so long. Why it is not happening? Ask the question. Do we really ask these questions? Or we simply take it easy? Can we say that intellect says I have understood it and I go back to the same stuff again every day? Do you see that? No, I have understood everything is good in the session, but after the session or during my life living on a day-to-day basis, I fall back. So it means there is some difficulty in grasping this knowledge, isn't it? This is the next verse. First, he says that the real self dwells in the cave of heart of every being, but I am not able to realize because of the three factors: ignorance, impurity, and restlessness. Now he says that when the ignorance is removed from the mind, that real self shines by itself. But there is a difficulty in grasping this knowledge. So, what is that difficulty? Can we point out? So, when we point out, we can use the mind and the intellect to get rid of that. Are you getting it? What the master is saying. So, the last time we discussed about, take one example, grasping it. Problem and the opportunity should be handled with care and wisdom. Problem is there, three factors are there. Either it is ignorance, or it is the impurity of the mind, or restlessness. So take care of the restlessness. Move into the state of calmness and relaxation. And then check the impurity. What is that impurity is there? Which impurity is causing the trouble? And then we move to the knowledge. This is the exact process as discussed by almost all the masters. So, ignorance, when I say I do not know I am the real self, what happens? How it causes the impurities? Ignorance is that I do not know I am the real self. Then what I am? I am the body, mind, intellect, and ego. The moment I am the body, mind, and intellect, the impurities are ready to take over us. And once these impurities takes over, restlessness comes. It is all about the discernment. You are thinking, contemplating, and reflecting in your mind. But again, I am repeating, the Master says, what is exactly the difficulty in grasping, in receiving that knowledge which is not realized, that causes? So we are focused more on the way the mind receives the knowledge of the real self. Last time, did we understand clearly that we talked about the six enemies or the six impurities of the mind? The desire, and then agitation or restlessness, then greed, then we have a delusion, pride, and jealousy or hatred. So we need to contemplate again and again, this desire is the anger, this desire is the hesitation, this desire is the greed, this desire is the delusion, this desire is the jealousy, this desire is the pride. Desire is the main thing, but before the desire, there is a sense of attachment and detachment. I keep on thinking, and this attachment and detachment comes because of the likes and dislikes. And now the likes and dislikes takes place in the mind because of ignorance. And that causes the impurities. The more and more you contemplate, the mind becomes very clear. And you are settled in that state of consciousness. Remember, the Nisargadatta, the great master, he went to the master. The master says, you are of the nature of the real self. His mind questions that there is no question to not to believe this master, that I am of the nature of the real self. He has no self-interest in that. Think of that again and again. There is no reason. We are following the path rationally. We are not creating a cult or a dogma or a belief or a religion. I have an average intellect, I can contemplate and reflect. That was only the one message he kept in his mind all the time. And within, I would say, a few years, he reached to that state. He became one of the great masters. He recently died in 80s. Now reverse this message in a different way. He became a seeker after listening only the first lesson, and he challenged the mind that I am not worthy of suffering. That is the meaning. Do you see that? There is no reason not to believe that I am not the real self. So he challenged his own mind that now I am not worthy of suffering. And that is the sign of the highest seeker. What happens for the medium seeker and the lowest seeker? We challenge, you see that I've been suffering a lot, and now, this Eastern wisdom says you are of the nature of the peace and happiness. Huh? Finished. So the master have added one more thing, the knowledge with the humility. You see, I'm just combining all those strings together so that our intellect lives into that knowledge and it reaches to the state of what we say awakening. Knowledge leads to humility. Half knowledge leads to arrogance. Arrogance belongs to the impurity. There are 6 impurities. Impurity results into ignorance and ultimately restlessness. Are you getting it? Combine all the three. Contemplate and reflect. We experience stress, we experience hesitation, but can I challenge it with the knowledge? I am not worthy of suffering. How? Why? Reach to a state of rest, fullness, so that you can recognize what impurity is causing you this problem. Three factors. But we are trying to understand why there is a difficulty in grasping, absorbing, assimilating that knowledge. You have heard millions of times that the real self is our essential nature. It is of the nature of peace and happiness. Did you not? You heard it millions of times. So where is the problem of grasping it? Now, I'm not challenging your mind. You all are wise and intelligent people. So it's we have to understand that why it is difficult for grasping this knowledge. First thing, we are going slowly. First thing is the problem outside or inside the mind. The problem is definitely inside the mind. Let me take directly. How mind receives the knowledge. Maintain your awareness, just pay attention. I know you, this is knowledge. I know Stephen, I know David, this is knowledge. Now examine how I receive that knowledge. What are the 3 factors involved in receiving that knowledge which prompts my mind to declare that I know you? I know you is the knowledge. Clear? So there is a I, there is you, and there is a knowledge. There are 3 factors. Got it? Are you with me? How mind receives the knowledge, it has got 3 factors. For any knowledge received by the mind. In Eastern wisdom, it is known as Trinity. So now how to go deeper in order to understand, generalize this principle. So there is a knower, there is a known, and there is a knowledge. When I say I know you, it means I am the knower. What I know you, you are an object of knowledge, I am a subject of knowledge, and there is a knowledge in between. Little deeper, but not as deep so that anyone can understand. We want to answer the question that I have heard, that real self is my essential nature, and still I am not able to realize it because of the three factors: ignorance, uh, impurity, and restlessness. That is one. Second is the causative factor are the three: ignorance, impurity, and. But then in the next verse, the master says that what is the difficulty in grasping this knowledge of the real self? I listen to the teacher, I do the practice, I have a beautiful experience, but after a few hours, I go back to the same state, same behavior, same attitude, same response. We are trying to answer that question through the teaching of this master. So then we came to the question that how we receive the knowledge through the mind. And we receive the knowledge where any knowledge can be received by the mind, which consists of three factors. I gave one example: I know you. Huh? So there is a knowledge. This is knowledge when I say I know you. But again, the two factors are there. One is the knower, and other is the known. What I want to know about you. You are an object of knowledge. Are you clear? My eyes are the means of the knowledge that perceives you. So my sense organ becomes I. That is how I claim I know you. Clear? There is an object of knowledge, there is a means of knowledge, and there is a subject. Subject means the knower. Here it is a seeker. Are you clear? Should I go ahead? We have to be a little serious. Serious in a sense that don't have a big face, but we have to understand these. How it will help you to move into a higher level of discernment and dispassion. So are you clear? What I want to know is an object of knowledge. Clear? What is that object of knowledge? Real self. Who wants to know the real self? Here comes the puzzle. I. Who is this I? Who is this I? It's very easy, when I say I know you, so I'm a subject, and you are an object, so we two are different in the mind. But now ask yourself. So there is an object of knowledge, there is a subject of knowledge, and there is a means of knowledge. Clear? Three factors. Apply the three factors in knowing the real self. Object of knowledge is real self. Who wants to know? I. Who is this I? Is this I sense organ? Sense organ cannot know the real self. Sense organs are matter. Mind is also a matter. Tell me what to do, don't do anything. Are you getting it? Again, I'm repeating. why it is difficult for grasping this knowledge of the real self. So we came to the question that how to receive, how this mind receives the knowledge. So it has three factors: what I want to know, who wants to know, so that the knowledge will take place. Simple. Who wants to know? If it is mind, mind cannot know the real self. Sense organ cannot know the real self. Look at the beauty of rationality, reasoning, clarity. Who wants to know? I. So when I say goodbye to the sense organ and the mind, I live in constant awareness. I live in pure consciousness. And that pure consciousness is the same that I want to know. Some of you told me that you were totally absorbed in the last session. What is this absorption? The object of knowledge is also the real self, and who wants to know is also the real self. They two merge together. And that is why we have such a deeper experience. In that absorption, it is a natural state of rest, fullness, natural state of purity. Instead of three, we experience oneness. Are you getting it? The way we are understanding every verse. Now I will use that verse from the teaching and then we will explain it. What is desire to be known, the real self? Who wants to know? Sense organ? It cannot know. Mind cannot know. So what should I do? I do nothing with the sense organ and the mind. But I'm still aware. What is that awareness? What is that consciousness? It is the real self. So real self knows the real self by itself. So in the beginning we experience that kind of an assimilation, self-absorption, a natural state of infinite peace and happiness. What is the difficulty in grasping it? Did you get it? When the mind forces me to know the real self the way I know any other object, that is the problem. I need not to force the mind. Normally, because of the habit, because of the impurity, because of the restlessness, we try to force the mind. When we force the mind, then we fall back into the impurity and the restlessness. I believe you're getting it. And then what happens? Once the mind forces us to constantly work on knowing the real self, then this mind returns to its impurity, returns to its hesitation, returns to its pride and the jealousy. It falls into the delusion and it misses the real part. I listen to you, I attend to you, I follow the practice, still I am too far. Why? 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 the mind goes back to the same impurity, then it claims I am worthy of suffering. It's a walking on a razor's edge. Slight lack of awareness, you miss it. That is in one language, one simple statement. We say, as long as this mind is working on me, I am not able to realize the real self. So when we use the word mindfulness or meditation, is transcending the mind. This is the method of transcending the mind, to know that what causes the problem. That is why now one more doubt that we should be very clear. I told you that what I want to know the real self. So when I say I want to know the real self, who is this I? I can be sense organ, I can be the mind, and I can be the real self itself. So as long as the impurity of the mind and the restlessness is there, I remain at the level of the sense organ to perceive, to know the real self. I remain at the level of the mind, and both these levels cannot know the real self, and we fall back again and again into the challenges. Then we say there is nothing in meditation, there is nothing like awakening, there is nothing like a real self. So our masters removes the doubt. Last point, it may be interesting for you. It becomes important for us because we are going verse after the verse. So it is important to understand 6,000 years ago, one master revealed that knowledge and they have passed on that knowledge, which you can say they are the Upanishads, group of the text. Now, another seeker followed that path and he realized that the principles are okay. I also reached to the same state, but this master has not answered the queries which came to my mind. So he wrote a book. He did not oppose it. Or in a way, he opposed, he questioned and he answered that. That became the second series of the book. The third master said, oh, this master did not answer this question. It is okay, I have realized, I have reached to that state. The third master has removed all the doubts. Now think of these 6,000 years of the tradition. Every master followed the same tradition, same principles. But every master has their unique expression of those principles. Buddha said, Buddha followed one path, they belong to the Eastern wisdom. He referred that there was a master Kapila who defined mindfulness, who lived 3,000 years ago from the time the Buddha was born. But interpretation. So if there is a problem of say, for example, some people may not like my interpretation. Then what we do? As a teacher, what I do? I bring in the principles as explained by other teachers to make people understand, to help us realize. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. Let us close your eyes. We will continue. Our journey eyes are closed. And my friends, again, remember position of the body. Eyes are closed and check how fast you can settle. I've been talking about this, prompting you, helping you, inspiring you. How fast you can settle into that state. That will make a sense. Now it's making a sense. You all are seekers. Eyes are closed, body is still. Instantly, and I could see each one moves into that state. That is a great sign of a seeker. So indicates if we are a seeker of a higher order. Normally what we do in our country, we start stretching the body, the mental consciousness remains outside at the physical level. And we miss the point. Very subtle point. It will not be, normal people will not be able to understand it. And then being comfortable, you are settled in the comfort. And then we understood that you look at the neck joint, it's a physical. So sensation is there at the physical level, comfort at the mental level, and then I spoke about the steadiness. Is a first glimpse of the real self, steadiness or stillness in the body. It has nothing to do with off the body. There cannot be the stillness of the body, of the mind, of the breath, of the intellect, of the ego. No, not at all. You are looking at shoulder joint sensation. You move by yourself, physical, with that understanding. Comfort, mental, steadiness, deeper inside. The entire body from the top of the head to the toes. Look at all the joints. What is our goal? Settle in the comfort behind and beyond the current state of the mind. And that shows the progress, the sign of the progress that yes, we can enter into the comfort anytime, anywhere. Impurities comes, sudden hesitation comes, and first thing you remember, oh, let me settle into comfort first before I solve this problem. I can tell you. That is also known as the point of awakening. We meet difficult situations almost every day in our day-to-day life. Well, being carefree. And now, being carefree has totally a different meaning for you. What is that meaning? Mind is not me. Whatever is happening in the mind is not mine. Thought, feeling, or whatever is happening in the mind is not mine. Yes. But how do I know that what is happening in the mind? I'm an observer. Like I stand across and watch the traffic, mental traffic. I'm observing the birds are flying in the sky, the thoughts are flying in the mental sky. That's all. maybe 5 or 6 times. You should be comfortable and carefree during the day. How much time it takes? Hardly a few minutes. Why? Third factor which prevents the restlessness. Second factor, the impurity. So, impurity is caused by the likes and dislikes. So, when you are a dispassionate observer, you minimize the impact of that likes and dislikes, which causes the attachment, then desire, then hesitation, then greed, then delusion. Use that being comfortable and carefree and share your experiences that I did it and this is what happened. When the mind is comfortable and carefree in that state, it lives in discernment and it follows what the mantra says. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. We understood that every mantra should be followed by chanting in the mind with the meaning and then knowledge. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Meaning, let there be a well-being for all. Knowledge. Oh, well-being is the essential nature of the real self, and the real self is the essential nature of the entire living species, including the human being. You see that mind. Why the impurity comes? Because I don't see a common point. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Let there be peace for all. Through our contemplation, reflection, applying all kinds of reasoning, we reach to a conclusion. Conclusion is what? It is a knowledge. What is that knowledge? That every living species is seeking peace. And if it is the ant or the elephant or the tiger, obviously I am a highly developed human being. I am also seeking peace. Sarvesham Shantir. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. So when you spell out the meaning of the mantra in your mind, you should do it, thinking. Let there be a completeness in all, including me. No, but what completeness has to do? The impurities of the mind will go away. Can you link it? If you can link it, let me know. If you cannot, let me know. Desire means a sense of incompleteness. That is why I am seeking something outside in the world. To feel complete. But nothing in the world can make me complete. I need to discover the sense of completeness and wholeness within me. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Auspiciousness, knowledge with the joy. And if knowledge is not with the joy, that is the half knowledge. It means the mind has some difficulty in grasping it. Look at the mantra, the essence of the mantra. The way the masters have, it's my interpretation, knowledge with the joy, coming from the explanation by other masters. But the knowledge with the joy, if it is not there, it is half knowledge. Half knowledge is ignorance. If there is an ignorance, the impurity will take over. Now we will directly attack the impurity and also the restlessness of the mind by three types of the breathing. In all the three types of the breathing, our focus remains deep inside the forehead in the space. Why? That is symbolically a center of the knowledge. We want to remove that half knowledge. And keep on doing Om Shanti there also. You are keeping your awareness in the space inside the forehead with a gentle Om Shanti, and now start breathing quick and short breath from the chest. You inhale, the chest expands, you contract the chest, you exhale, the chest squeezes. Expansion in the contraction of the rib cage. And check the impure mind. Will say, no, stop it, it's enough. One day it says, stop it. One day it will be distracted. So distraction is third impurity, third problem, restlessness. And when the mind forcibly stop the breathing, impurity. Om Shanti, you lose the track of the Om Shanti, ignorance. So you are living in an extraordinary awareness. Continue. Om Shanti continues, breathing continues, the steadiness of the body continues. And then you see the mind, how the mind plays the tricks with us. It says, no, you cannot do it. You have unusual experiences. Even though there is a disclaimer, but you all are seekers. And stop it. In the field of awareness, Om Shanti continues, the space continues, you are examining what is obstructing. Sometimes mind says, oh, you have unusual experiences, stop it. You will have it. So accept and recognize. Sometimes mind says, I cannot do it. Mindfulness, apply mindfulness. I have to raise, I have to increase the impact of this step. And I'll start breathing from the belly with Om Shanti, body is steady. It's a little longer breath. You inhale, the belly goes out. You exhale, the belly goes in. Expansion and the contraction of the belly. Om Shanti continues. You're applying your awareness. It's a higher level of awareness. You are doing Om Shanti peacefully, you're keeping the body steady, you're doing breathing from the belly, you're aware of the breathing, the belly breathing, not the chest breathing. It doesn't change. And if that happens, instantly you will undergo variety of experiences, tingling, numbness, freezing, sometimes very extreme sensations all around the head. Let it be, accept, recognize. Belly, breathing continues. The mind will play hundreds of tricks, and you recognize these tricks. And then compare it with the sense of anxiety symptoms. You will find that. You'll be surprised that you are bringing the symptoms of anxiety on the surface of the mind. And once you bring it, you have a total knowledge. When you have a total knowledge, it drops down by itself. Oh. And stop it. I made a point that, we have, when you bring those symptoms on the surface of the mind, means what? You are consciously recognizing. Sometimes what the mind does, mind starts scratching the body, moving the body. It says, okay, if I do this, it will help me. No. Now keep your mind inside the forehead. Om Shanti continues, body is steady, and now you are breathing both from the belly and the chest. You hear the noise, it can make a sense for you. From the noise, you understand, you inhale into the belly, then into the chest, one breath. You exhale from the belly and the chest. It's a long, deep, and the hissing breath. But Om Shanti continues. The mind deeper inside, I told you, will play the tricks. You get carried away or you continue. So that will check your level of seeking also. Simply you don't listen to the mind. And that is why we say you listen to the teacher only in the beginning, so that the teacher helps you to get rid of tantrums of the mind. How simple it is. Now you see that level of humility. We're going for 2.5 minutes each this week, and then we will go for little. And with that feeling, now leave this, with that feeling that you're doing the practice every day. So 6 days of the practice will help you to increase the duration. And now you leave that step, start breathing deep, silent in, slow into your belly, into the chest, moving the mind inside the spine with Om Shanti. So when you're inhaling, you say Om Shanti. Now, what is the goal of this Nyasa? One goal that I have already explained. Now keep your awareness that every time you inhale and exhale, your next breath is deeper than the previous one while saying Om Shanti. Why? Even after 5 or 6 breaths, I can reach to the 2 breaths in a minute. And when I reach to that 2 breaths in a minute, the mind is already absorbed. The mind has no role to play any tantra. And you experience that infinite space. So consciously, your next breath is deeper, longer, and silent than the previous one with Om Shanti. Om Shanti helps you to absorb the mind. So self-absorption, we discussed about it. 3 factors of knowledge you can recall. It is deep, it is silent, it is slow. What is going to happen? You are raising the level of awareness of the mind. And in a higher level, a heightened state of awareness, the impurities and the restlessness do not work. You already have experience. I'm just explaining it. Everyone has a similar experience. I tried this, after a few 5 or 6 breaths, the breath rate becomes only 2 breaths in a minute. But even if it becomes 3 or 4 or 5 breaths in a minute, it will help you to move into the state of self-absorption. And even if it remains 4 or 5 breaths in a minute during the day, you are sharpening the intellect. The revelation starts during the day in difficult situations and opportunities. The state of restlessness is maintained. And now leave this, go to the rib center of the heart, triangle. You know Om Shanti on each side of a triangle. You're not taking help of the breath now. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, and you check the rhythm is there. Rhythm means the impurities of the mind is not there. And if it is not there, then you look at the center of a triangle, as if you are pushing the mind to the cave of your heart. Shanti, self-absorption. Once you reach to that state, you cannot prevent yourself speaking out. The mind will push you to speak out in a given situation, in relationship, with people, in business, in profession. That is what the teacher of the Eastern wisdom looks. So the tradition continues. Where you use the word when you look inside the center of a triangle and pushing the mind by singing Om. Now you have an ability to push the mind in impurities and in restlessness. The mind takes over us. That claims I'm worthy of suffering. Do nothing, remain. You're already doing nothing. Do nothing. Can you imagine that pure consciousness manifest through you? Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences And bring the hands down. How are you, Stephen?
Good.
Good.
Thank you
Thank you
again for
again
that
for that
lesson.
lesson.
It just in
Just
a
in
I'm
I'm
calm,
calm,
relaxed,
relaxed,
and
and
completely
completely
absorbed
absorbed
in
in
meditation.
meditation.
It
It
was
was
the
the
breath
breath
work.
work.
It
It
was
was
the
the
third,
third,
right
right
after the
after the
belly
belly
breathing.
breathing.
I
I
was
was
just
just
drawn to
drawn
the
to the
heart
heart
center,
center
in
in
a
a
warm,
warm,
quiet,
quiet,
relaxed
relaxed
space.
space.
Completely
Completely
absorbed
absorbed
in.
in.
It was
It was
fast,
fast,
just
just
a
a
quick
quick
meditation.
meditation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. These experiences are beautiful. How are you, Ashok?
Sir, good, peace and calm, relaxed.
Relaxed. Yes, last time you told that during the day also you contemplate and reflect. That is beautiful.
Me too, sir. During the daytime, I contemplate and reflect, and that helps to maintain the calm during the daytime.
Hmm. Very good. Good.
And
How are
it
you?
increases
Yeah.
awareness. Thank you.
How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very
Very
good.
good.
I
I
really
really
thoroughly
thoroughly
enjoyed
enjoyed
the
the
lesson,
lesson.
and
And
the
the
practice
practice
for
for
me
me
was
was
really
really
great
great
because
because
there
there
was
was
admittedly a
admittedly a
couple of
couple of
moments of
moments of
impurity,
impurity,
but
but
the
the
ability
ability
to
to
acknowledge
acknowledge
that
that
and
and
get
get
back
back
into a
into a
deep
deep
meditative
meditative
state
state
occurred
occurred
the
a
couple of
couple of
times
times
that the
that the
impurity
impurity
occurred.
occurred.
So
So
I
I
consequently had
consequently
a
had a
very
very
deep,
deep,
relaxing, and
relaxing,
quick
quick
meditation.
meditation.
It's beautiful. The moment the impurity comes, you start contemplating, reminding that I'm not worthy of suffering, and then see what happens. This is what happen to the devil. The moment I claim that I declare half knowledge I am worthy of suffering after meditation, I am in peace during meditation. That should not be there. How are you, Jerry?
Sorry, I'm
Sorry, I'm
good,
good,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Meditation
Meditation
was
was
infinite
infinite
space,
space,
just
Beautiful.
with
with
no
no
boundaries
boundaries
or
or
colors
colors
or
or
just
just
space.
space.
And the
And the
lesson,
lesson,
the
the
mind
mind
thoroughly
thoroughly
enjoyed
enjoyed
that
that
lesson
lesson
and
and
the
the
kind of
kind of
simpleness
simpleness
of
of
it,
it,
but
but
also
also
blunt.
blunt.
That
That
just
just
if
if
the
the
mind
mind
wants to
wants to
look
look
at
at
all the
all the
things
things
that are
that are
constantly
constantly
changing,
changing,
whether
whether
it's in
it's in
ourselves or
ourselves or
someone
someone
else, the
else, the
body,
body,
their
their
minds,
minds,
their
their
attitudes, their
attitudes, their
personalities.
personalities.
And
And
if the
if the
mind
mind
wants to
wants to
constantly
constantly
look
look
at
at
that,
that,
and
and
wish it
wish it
wasn't
wasn't
happening
happening,
or
or
want it
want
to
it to
happen
happen
differently,
differently,
then
then
we'll
we'll
suffer.
suffer.
But
But
if the
if the
mind
mind
says,
says,
oh, of
"Oh, of
course,
course,
mind,
mind,
this is
this is
always
always
changing.
changing.
Of
Of
course
course,
they're
they're
changing.
changing.
Of
Of
course
course,
we're
we're
changing. The
changing. The
things
things
that we
that we
see are
see are
changing.
changing.
But
But
what
what
mind
mind
isn't
isn't
changing?
changing?
When
When
we
we
ask our
ask our
minds,
minds,
would
would
you
you
want to
want to
focus
focus
on
on
what's
what's
not
not
changing?
changing?
Then
Then
it's
it's
really
really
beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, I could see beautiful. You see that what Jerry is explaining, it is her mind is pointing to the likes and dislikes from where the entire journey of the impurity begins. What I want to do, I should do the way I feel like doing it without having a right knowledge, but the world is constantly changing. So that point of likes and dislikes you pick up. The point of likes and dislikes in the field of the knowledge, in the field of discernment, the life changes completely. Beautiful. How are you, Brandy?
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
I'm
I'm
fine,
fine,
thank
thank
you.
you.
I
I
felt like
felt
you
like
were
you were
talking to
talking to
me
me
today when
today
you
when you
said the
said the
mind would
mind would
try a
try a
hundred
hundred
things
things
to,
to,
pull
pull
you
you
out of
out of
it. So
it.
it
So it
took
took
all the
all the
steps to
steps to
get
get
there,
there,
but
but
once I
once I
got
got
settled
settled
into my
into my
meditation, I
meditation, I
didn't
didn't
want to
want
come
to come
out.
out.
Ah, beautiful. Yes, I was talking to you plus others also. I'm adding plus. How are you, Sam?
Oh, good. Just found that dark, quiet space. And it was very nice.
Yeah, dark, quiet space. So what happens again? I want to put something into there. The moment you wake up, you are into that space and you constantly live into that space. The mind does not run here and there. Why it runs? Because of the, again, now you have understood, because of the impurity, because of the half knowledge, that is ignorance, and because of the restlessness. How are you, Terry? Terry didn't move.
I didn't.
He didn't move.
I was in the breath all the time, and sometimes, well, I was going back and forth between correcting the breath because sometimes it wasn't silent, and I would start thinking, why? How can I correct that? And then other times I was just sort of going backwards into the dark space.
Into the dark space.
And
That's
go
beautiful.
back and forth between those two.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I could see the challenges you have with the breathing, but why don't you practice couple of times every day? Maybe 3 times every day, morning, afternoon, evening, and then see what happens. So the more repetitions and the breathing and the physical movement can be conditioned. And once you are able to condition it, it is going to help your brain also. I'm going totally out of the meditation, but it is going to help you definitely. Beautiful. Last one. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it was total darkness,
Good.
and total. I was in a state of little joy and happiness. That was it.
Beautiful. In a state of the joy. Yeah, once we are continuing the journey, you will find sometime you feel you are in an ecstatic state. When you see that there is no impurity, there is no restlessness, the mind is totally absorbed deeper within. Absorption. We understood the word absorption, self-absorption. Object of knowledge, subject of knowledge, and the knowledge. So object and the subject of knowledge merge together. Why? They are one. You bring the mind, you have a problem. But how the mind enters there? Because of impurity. Because of the impurity. So during the day, okay, what I'm searching? Real self. Who is searching? The real self, not the mind. And then see what happens. That very space enters into you find that you are already living in a space, even in the presence of a mob. You'll be surprised. Because it is not the space outside that goes inside, it is the space inside that manifests outside. And when that manifests, then we declare, I am not worthy of suffering. Terry, you are also not worthy of suffering. You are not the body. That is all. Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste to everyone.